Hello, I'm John Stephens, lead developer of Tyrant-Antagonist Games, and I'm making a game. It's called Pluck, and right now we're going through the old versions of my game. Specifically, we're going to show off version 0.3.65.03, back when I still called it Heart Swap. And there you go. It now goes full screen. We've got my logo. We can actually press A and it will just go through that screen slightly faster. I now have a Heart Swap logo and my controller now. Let's move press new game. Let's move the cursor off the screen. So I now have a dedicated tutorial. It's and title cards. You can already see a broken element on the right there, where that person has a heart that's doing something it shouldn't be doing. But I press B to begin, and it'll drop me down. So now this is my newest attempt at a tutorial. It still isn't good, but I like this. So the idea was, I was just like, no, okay, instead of these wordy things, I started off quite well. Just like, here's the instructions, this is how to play the game. But as soon as you close this window, hang on, what am I supposed to do again? So that was a weird decision I made there. So, kind of like before, I'm showing people simple jumps, and I'm showing that you can't jump through there. There is no double jump anymore, there is no... actually, wall slide still exists, there's just no wall kick. See these white faces. But we now have ramps! So, his jump is actually much higher than it was before, though. But it just helped a lot. But, things with these ramps, I have not made it white below, is I got them off a tutorial, but I couldn't figure out how to make him smoothly walk down. So in this demo, you're trying to get Henry Sawyer to the World Heart. There's one in every level. You have to use the tools at your disposal to get there. This might change in a future version. So I thought the pictures were a good idea. I made sure you could see where the World Heart was, because I'd learned. But what am I trying to explain? Yeah, so when you walk up and down, I actually have to slow the speed of his walking, because otherwise, whenever you're on an angle, you're running too fast, because it's horizontal speed still, but technically he's traversing more ground. I don't know if I fixed it in this version, but I do. Yeah, I think it's not fixed yet, but I do eventually slow it down, just like 80%. There's a number. But what happens? I shouted that for some reason. What happens? I don't know if it's fixed here, but it will be fixed eventually. Is when I'm standing on the ramp, his weight goes up a lot to make sure he's just glued to it. And as soon as I jump, or as soon as you're not on the ramp, his gravity goes back to normal. Because when I can't figure out the solution, I just botch it just with duct tape. This is the heart scanner. You see it like so, showing you all the examples, and that's what it looks like. Generally speaking, this is how you interact with the world. By tilting the right stick, you can aim the scanner. Bear in mind, you cannot aim through walls. The scanner will show if you've detected an entity that might hold a heart. So I'm trying to give people all the information they could possibly need, which is a bad idea, because what happens is I just end up overwhelming the players. You can already see where I've gone wrong. In your adventures, you will discover two types of entity that you will interact with. Monoliths, to show an example, and denizens, you'll know them by their eyes, because if they have eyes, they have a heart. So the mistake I've made here is that even though I think it's logical, I'm also throwing out made-up terms multiple times in a row. So like people are like, what's a denizen? What's a monolith? What's a fal'C? What's a l'C? So I explain the monoliths. They sit in the background. They're like the same rules as before. Monoliths sit in the background. They act as guides and gatekeepers of the world. So flavor text that people didn't necessarily need to. These ones are capable of holding hearts. Show them at all times in the form of a revolving core. Something that presumably people should be able to pick up by themselves. We will introduce each monolith one by one as they arrive. Well, they each have their own effect on the world. So still not 100% sure how to elegantly explain the monoliths, but I now have a better scanner. Like I don't know if you remember this episode 1, if you watched that. Like I show off a bit of the newest code, and there's a HUD that tells you what you're scanning, and that has a name which is more flavour than none. And I was gonna have like a button that said, "Do you want to read more?" That I'm not done yet. So the denizens of the flora and fauna of the lands that come in all shapes and sizes and to display varying behaviours. See, for me, I like the idea of promising people, oh, there's going to be lots of this and it's going to be exciting because they're all going to go in different shapes. Although the first and for the demo only ones you'll encounter are rather simple. They're deeply affected by the principles of the heart. What does that mean, John? Well, it meant the heart swap code works for them, but like I was trying to be fanciful. The heartfelt. You see, I explain, like you can barely walk 2 steps without me explaining stuff. So like heartfelt is now conceptually done in the HUD. Like I don't need to explain what heartfelt is. It's just if it's got a heart, it's heartfelt. This is when we call them heartfelt. When the hearts have been removed, they revert to the native principle of the land. We call these the heartless. The form they take depends very much on the land they currently reside. People don't need to know that, John. In fact, they don't need to know it until you reach a second land, do they? They can just assume. So the whole point of null space is that only null space do heartless turn invisible, and when you're in a grounded place, the native version is actually solid. Anyway, that was the idea. So you can actually see I widened these to make them easier to jump on, and I hadn't quite got around to finishing that and making sure everything worked. So in null space, the heartless are without form. They are translucent and intangible. You might call this a null heart. Since there are many hearts with differing principles, only a conflicting principle will replace it. Adding a complementary principle will just create a null version of that principle. What, John? You see, yeah, this is people just stop reading at this stage. They're just like, I don't care, and they just cancel it. So I was mean, I made it so you couldn't grab these, even though you blatantly can if you jump high enough. I just wanted to show off stuff and this small cloud. You are ready to complete each level. You would aim the heart scanner at the world heart and press the right trigger. Why did I do that when I didn't want you to do it right now? Looks like this one is out of reach, but that is fine. To start the demo proper, you need to only take a leap of faith. Walk off the ledge and begin the game. Don't know why I made that decision, but yeah, I was like, just put it out of reach. There you go. So this is level 1. So we now have level tags in the corner and a title for each level, which I really liked. So this is an example of a self-contained level, and I really like this level, but there's a save point. Clay heart, it's going to explain how the heart works. In the land of null space, clay will be the first and most common heart you'll find. As a conflicting principle, it will replace the null heart, making the intangible solid. So the point is, you can pile elements, but some elements flip. And I hope, like, I don't know if that makes sense or not. But the hearts have a burden. While you are in position of a clay heart, you are rooted to the ground. Again, people still didn't get that. People were like, they shut that window down immediately, and they were like, why am I glued to the ground? Now, you now have smoke. That's at least a visual indicator. But people didn't like it. They were like, no, I've got a button, and it now doesn't do anything. People just like jumping. Eod, the Prometheus. I think I changed his name. I know, I'm pretty sure it changes again. The first of the monoliths keep with the unseen principles, so then they now have subtitles. Use the right trigger to pluck the heart from Eod. Prometheus. Once it is taken, there is no giving it back. This one holds clay, so that you may give form to the formless. So now, because I don't have double jump, it's just much easier to just have these simple paths. The idea of the purple clouds, and I don't know if everyone ever got this, they're supposed to subtly indicate the correct answer. I want to give people as much help as they can without directly telling them. I want people to think they figured it out on their own, because that's what a puzzle game is. It's a trick to say, well, you did a clever thing, but actually you just followed my instructions. And now I'm not being like smug. Like, that's what all games are. Resistance is an illusion, right? Dark Souls, the people who made Dark Souls really want you to beat Dark Souls. But Dark Souls has a reputation of going, no, it's a hardcore game. No, they want you to win. But, like, resistance is an illusion. Anyway, so this works exactly the same. I still don't like that animation. It's supposed to do something different. I just haven't fixed that yet. But now, this is essentially a simplified version of puzzle from the last game. But you can see, very simple puzzle. And I'll keep this. This is a great initial puzzle. The other thing I had to fix is people were like, do I shoot this? Hopefully this works. Works regardless. But you can now see there's a level transition. Sunroof. This is a clue to what the theme of the game, the level is. Now the ramps. So I don't think. You can see the error there. See how I just teleport to the top there? That's because it's bad code. Since been fixed, hopefully. Smog and glass. So this is the same, but I tried to explain these two together. Not going to do that next time. They're going to have each their own levels. The idea I'm going to do is they're just going to have a really simple level where it's just like pick up a thing, put it here, understand how smog works, play in the smog world, and just give people a little toy box to jump around and play with glass, play with smog. And then when they're in levels proper, people hopefully understand them, rather than me info dumping all this information. Put a lot of effort into having colour coding, only to find out that colourblind people exist. And oh god, I'm going to have to put more effort into making things look different because my colourblind friend couldn't tell the difference between the purple cloud in the background and the green cloud that's smog. Now, I feel like you stand on the wrong side of smog, so that should help, but I don't write that there. So smog is an intangible background element, while Henry can pass through it. Blocks line of sight for the heart scanner. Heart glass is the opposite. It acts as a solid ground, but the heart scanner can see beyond it. You can see that heart there. And this is a little bit tedious, but the principle is supposed to be that you only really need 2 hearts to get anywhere, right? When you have these solid places. You're supposed to look over here. Well, I say that, but it's going to be pretty obvious for everyone that you can just use these bottom things. And that you can get over here. Now, you can see I widened these, because halfway through development, I was just like, you know what, I just need to make landing on things easier. I didn't want this to be a skill check. But it's still slightly annoying because square things fit much better everywhere. But when you know this in advance, I'm just going to show you the correct solution. So you have 3. Why do you need 3? Well, you only need 2 to get there naturally. So you can consider I could have gone there, grabbed that and placed it there, right? But the point is, once you get here, there's actually no way of getting up because you're grounded, see? That's the puzzle. So how do we get up here? Put a heart in that, which you can see I've drawn the route people are supposed to take, and the answer is through this sunroof. And like, how do I have a spare? Well, you grab a spare like so. This forces me to be standing on that one, which is a decision I decided for some reason. And I think this makes sense. Not everyone gets it straight away, but it's really hard to know how hard a puzzle is. It's just super, like, I have no idea if there's a principle. You just have to make a puzzle and have people test it and go, that was really hard, that was really easy. So, that's me going, ah. And this is also me going, ah. So you saw a bit of this. Uon, the witness, second of the monoliths, the observer of the trials. Sure to approach Uon, the witness, for she will record your progress. So should you want to leave, you will also have a place to return. Just so we're clear, this is a save point. Yes, John. This level is broken, although it's broken twice. It's possible to trap yourself by leaving the heart here, a place where you cannot grab it. You want to go there. So, Amber and Null. In the land of null space, heartless denizens are intangible, allowing any entities that are solid to pass through. Amber is the exception. Null-hearted denizens cannot pass through amber. Entities with glamour principle may not pass through null-hearted for the same reason. What does that mean? That's just a bunch of words. This is an example of me going, no, it all makes perfect sense. And then people going, just immediately bouncing off that. It needs its own level. I need to not talk the flowery language. Every single idea needs to be introduced one at a time. It just means that the see-through stuff can't go through orange stuff, and orange stuff can't go through see-through stuff. There you go. We saw a little bit of this in my when I was explaining the game at first in episode 1. There are two ways to finish this puzzle actually. You can either put that in there, or stand on this and grab it through the window. Both will work fine. But this is sort of one that people did get stuck on this. They were like, oh, we had glass. Like, I just explained glass to you, but like they just didn't recognise what it looked like. Not as obvious as you think. And you should know from the previous level that you only need 2. You have 2, you can just get in wherever you like. I'll show you a sort of error. So, it's possible... I turned the guy invisible. It's possible to jump him off the edge. So, other side. Okay. This stumped a lot of people. So, this is something I just need people to totally understand. The heart button. So I don't even know if I'm going to keep this. Heart return. By pressing the Y button, you can return a heart from where it came from. You do not need a line of sight. It does not matter how far away you are. I'm probably going to take away this. There are currently errors. So this level is kind of broken though, for multiple reasons. So people will always try and get both of those. You only need one of them. The idea is... Let's do it wrong. I'll show you. So, you grab this. What somebody figured out is, hang on, how did it? There's definitely a wrong way of doing it. How do I restart the level? Oh yeah, there's now a menu and stuff. I'll just show you the right way. I'm hoping people are comfortable enough with the system at this point. But as I said before, the brief second I was still grounded. Because I was making sure I was still afraid of people jumping into it, so they grounded for slightly too long. Just to stop people from jumping into the hearts before they're fully formed. I did it again. The idea is you grab this, you wait for it to go through, then you return it. But there were ways of cheating. One is that it was possible to grab things when you shouldn't be able to. 2, it was possible to grab through the wall when I make the wall thicker. So all that was red herring. The entire puzzle is just getting this onto the other side. And what I need to do is just a really simple version of this level. Like this, what makes this level hard is just that there's so much stuff. So there's a guy called Jonathan Blow who would hate my shoddy programming, but he made a game called The Witness. But he does have some good ideas. He's got some terrible ideas as well, but like puzzle game wise, he's got some great ideas. And one of them is like it's very easy to make a difficult puzzle. You just have 100 elements, right? Like that's not clever puzzle though. It is difficult. The idea is to have a solvable puzzle. It's like does this currently work? So this is another puzzle. OM, the host. The third of the monoliths hold of the principles. OM, the host may hold a heart for you, which you may take and return as you please. Pay attention to the location of the core. For it happens to be internal, the principal heart will be bestowed upon the land of which it stands. It's true for all monoliths with a core. So yeah, some of them have them in the forehead and some of them on the ground. For this level here, you can see this error. This also has loads of things that don't affect the level at all. So I kind of like the idea of the puzzle, I'm just not sure I want to keep heart return. So I'm going to have to rethink how this entire works. Also entirely possible to break this puzzle. But there is a clever idea to it. It's literally exactly the same solution as the last puzzle. And there's a clue right there. If you grab this, it sort of breaks here, but you're kind of forced to fall down here, right? Here's the solution. You can fall beyond this cloud, then return it, and that gives you a floor that you can walk over here. For this level, I'm going to skip because it is a level from the last version. I just liked it, so I was like, no, I may as well keep it. Is it broken? We'll see if it's broken. I think I added ramps to it, though. Does it go bloopy bloop? It does! Weird. So, I have eventually figured out what this error is. He's carrying 2 machines at once, and it's affected on this level. No, so we'll skip this one. Oh, it memorises the wrong position. Not. Oh yeah, sweet tooth. So, Candy Heart. There we go. We've got a new heart. I always thought this is very exciting because not only do we want new hearts, new denizens, we want new hearts. So, Clay Heart combines the principle of clay and gum, and straight away you're like, you've not even introduced gum yet. Why have you introduced them both? Because very useful if you want to bounce on things in this land of the intangible. The formless is given form, but the burdens are combined. The result is that you may jump, but it's shorter than usual. So there we go. It's supposed to be 2 colours, and it's supposed to be a mix of clay and gum. Now, there's issues with this already. So, it's possible to trap yourself. That's the bad design right there. You can see it goes from square to rectangle. Now, when you're holding this, you can jump now. Because in my head, I hadn't quite figured out what the rules were for it. But I was like, well, bounce. Surely you should be able to jump with a bouncy thing on you. So the first, even this is a little bit of a puzzle. This should, I'm hoping it's pretty obvious what you're supposed to do. So the only way to get up, you can see this used to be square. Well, it still is square. This puzzle, it's possible to cheat. Somebody figured that out immediately. The idea was supposed to be to store this in here. This is the intended way. And that you grab this. Let's put it back because you can just do it with the 2 gums. You can see I've now made a ramp glass because I've realised that's a thing that should exist. If you do this, walk off the edge. You guide and blind jump because I'm a fool, and there you go. That's the puzzle solved. But yeah, you can do it without the clay. You can just bounce using the 2 gums and swap in midair if you're relatively skillful. Third wheel. So this, the faint heart. Faint principle is a very mysterious one indeed. It might appear to do very little, but take up valuable space. As for your interactions with it, it may as well be a null heart, but there isn't a burden. But as denizens start to interact with one another, more often you may notice they get confused. What the hell does that mean? Well, one, the design for the clay heart is way too simple. So you can see it's got white eyes instead of the black, because I wanted it to be subtle. The initial concept for them, you see here the sound coming out of my headphones, is that they're just in the way. It's just in the way. You just need to move it before you can interact with the thing you want to interact with. So yeah, and I just thought, it's a pretty simple puzzle element, but sometimes just blocking people's paths and making sure there's a route outwards, there's a way I can make a puzzle out of this. I actually really like this puzzle. It's just really simple. So I invented this, the heart eater. Should you walk into the heart eater while you are carrying a heart, it will flee your heart scanner and return from where it came from. Best look for another way around. But a version of this will stay in the game. You can see you can't walk through that, it will just pass it back. The idea is to take this candy heart, which I just introduced, and you can't go through that way. But don't worry, there's a piece of glass. Just pass it. And this is the sort of level I should have been making. Really simple level that introduces concepts. Because the difficult puzzles are supposed to come later. And then you can use this to get up. There's a little bit of shuffling. You're naturally going to do that the wrong way around. Tic-tac-toe, this is my final level. And I don't know if anyone ever figured this out. So I made a viewing platform, as you can see, there's 2 hearts there. Hopefully, a player should go, oh, yeah. This level, okay, Ojo the Divided, the 4th of the monoliths. So now I'm showing them both at the same time so people can at least visually connect them. A single idea shared. One side of Ojo, the Divided, will hold a heart and it cannot be taken from them. Instead, if triggered, it will pass the heart from one side to the other, bestowing the principle to the area it stands. So I just needed to have a level that just have those 2. So you can see this smog heart right there is blocking you from scanning those. You put it over here, they turn see-through, and now this one does the same. So all you want to do, hopefully it should be pretty obvious, is get in that room. So I want to put a thing in there. You shouldn't be able to scan it. That's a thing I don't even know if I fixed, but it should be fixable. It's called tic-tac-toe because so now the smog is turned off. Even the idea of turning the smog off is a thing I should have introduced separately. They're like, okay, I need another heart. I'm not going to get another heart from this one yet. Now, I think this one you can cheat. But I'll show you the solution I wanted people to. So it's called tic-tac-toe because the clue is you're supposed to do them in a line like this. And the struggle is, okay, how do I get one of these over there? The answer is this. Let me oh, have I invented slowdown yet? So, oh yeah. So one of the complaints, which I should have got ages ago, this is the only speed. For the next version of the game, he can walk slowly, but it's clearly not in this version. Also, you can see this weird arrow again. But yes. So the idea is you put this guy here. Oh look, that broke. That definitely shouldn't work like that. That's a weird error. I'm gonna have to restart this level, aren't I? Just that level. It's very good. And speed run strats. So yeah, you see I was grounded there. I want to turn that off. Keep that there. That's a more useful place. No, you can't keep it there because you can't get out. The version of this level I like, but it needs a little bit of refinement. That's the thing. About there. Let's try that again. Now, we move this one back, freeing this place up. The problem is that just needs to go a lot faster because there's a time where both of these will be see-through. Now, oh damn it, I forgot to do a thing, sorry. I made the decision that you can only do it from one side. Yeah, I'll have a think about how it works. How it affects puzzles. Okay. This is one where I had the solution, then I had to build a puzzle. And the solution is this. Grab this, walk up, and I've designed the ramps in such a way you can walk down as well. It's this level that made me realise that these have to be behind the clouds, not in front. Anyway, then you simply just walk to the right. This got ruined slightly by the fact I lengthened the things, but I thought that was a cool solution. The reason this hole is here is because the clouds have to connect. They have to be contiguous. Hopefully that makes a bit of sense. And there we go. That is version 3. And I liked it a lot. I was really proud of myself. I thought the level structure made a lot of sense. Now the next video isn't version 4. Next video is the diary proper. So I'm gonna I'll explain it at the start of the video, but I'm just going to show what I'm working on, why I decided to do that, and like how I'm stuck. I would show you some coding, but I'm a new coder, so I don't know, like you probably shouldn't get coding tips of somebody who doesn't know what they're doing. But anyway, thank you for watching this. One of the reasons I'm doing this is I'm hoping people will buy this game. I hope people like it, and I don't have an internet presence. So this is the other reason I'm doing this, is so I can just point people at my YouTube channel and go, no, I'm making a game and it's here. Like, before I was like, I don't want people to see the secrets. But, what are you going to do, eh? Anyway. I can make it a little smaller, I think. Yes, thank you for watching. I've been John Steppens, lead developer of Tyrantagonist Games. I'm not super sure on that name, but it's sort of stuck now, so that's what happens. And this has been my my third demo I made, and I've made people play these, and like it's heartbreaking because you go like, oh yeah, I've solved all the problems, and just people are like, I'm stuck. Like, oh. And people say, they go, I'm sorry, I'm not good enough to play your game. It's like, no, I'm not. You're not the problem. Like, people apologising. I'm sorry I failed at your demo. No. The point is that I failed to make a good demo. And it's fine, like, I'm learning. But, like, even if you don't know anything about games, you should be able to do the tutorial to my game. And if you can't, I failed. And that is sort of the building block for the next version of the game. I wanted two things, because somebody did do the level. A high-skilled player did do the game. But I was like, cool, but I also want low physical skilled people. So I was like, I want more stuff. I want more hearts. I want more denizens, more interesting ones. And I want a proper tutorial that properly introduces people better. So we'll have a look and see how I dealt with that, because you'll see some of the new stuff in the developer diary in the next video. And I'm not going to be pumping these videos out. Just when I kind of get stuck or there's something I think is interesting that I can talk about, I'll do. But one of the things I realised is, like, you may have noticed there was no push blocks in this version, because I just didn't look like it. You didn't see, but like sometimes when you pushed it, it would just go haywire or it wouldn't fall properly, and I've solved that. The other thing is, when you figure out like what is a puzzle in this game, because I've got to solve not just every single puzzle that I write, but how, like meta-wise, how puzzles are solved in general. And the idea is you're just trying to get from A to B. It's always A to B, trying to get from the start to the end. And so that's about movement. And there are two ways of moving. One, it's line of sight. You get to a place, you now see a thing, and that is a version of movement because I'm moving this vertical. Second movement is automatic movement, which if we go to the correct level, yes, so things like that, you can use that for automatic movement, which is decided by the heart. The third automatic movement is, of course, is bounce. So I need more moving parts because I can use them together, interestingly, and I've made a bunch of stuff, and I might show you. Because having an object, like, you might think, okay, what's an obvious thing I can do with that cloud there? Make it go up and down? Because then you can fall into a hole or something like that. And you go, well, that's got to be pretty simple. Can't you just tell that to go up and down and the code still works? No! Oh no. That took a solid week of programming, just getting that to go up and down and you just stay on it. Because, so, hang on, let's get over there. Let's make this one again. Not that one, we can show you on the other one. Because the way I figured out moving platforms eventually is that it's a ledge, right? You can jump up through it. Like so. Which is like, because I had to rack my brains. How do I make these unbreakable? And I was like, oh, jump up through it. And fall down for it, like a ledge. And I literally made the code for a ledge go left and right. And then I had to, I adapt my code. You can see now he doesn't turn around either when he hits the wall. He does sometimes wait till that's fine, I don't mind that. I've made these wider as well for the same reason I made those wider. But yes, but I never solved what happens if they're solid objects. So never are you travelling in a direction, because I might be travelling left and right, but as soon as I step onto that, my momentum becomes localised, and that sort of works fine. Well, if that's moving up and down, you are like falling down at the same time. Either it's moving up or it's moving down, and now there's the maths involved. So I had to sort of figure that out. And I'll show you what I did. But hopefully you found this interesting. That was I was supposed to be signing off, and I spent an extra 5 minutes talking, but it's a lot. This by itself, I think was this version. I think 4 months. That's a guess. I think I said to people, "Oh yeah, 6 weeks." Yeah, I promised 6 weeks, and that 6 weeks lasted at least twice as long. It didn't take so long time. There was a weird slowdown there, wasn't there? Yeah. Also, there's a bit of code whenever it's not working that is somehow still carry on. Anyway, thank you for watching.